our PhD program at UPenn, and she is one day going to be one of these researchers that is curing cancer. And so we're going to have her introduced. We're lucky enough tonight to also be able to hear from Dr. Donna Silverbush, who is calling in from Pennsylvania, from Philadelphia, and Megan will.
Yeah, so Anna was like a big sister to me. So when I wasn't allowed to listen to certain kinds of music or go on YouTube, she would let me listen to her iPod.
Found that out this week.
And her life, her struggle really inspired my life's work. And so it is my pride and joy to introduce my supervisor, principal investigator, Dr. Donna Silverbush. Dr. Donna Silverbush received her Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from Tel Aviv Academic College in Israel, her Master of Science in Computer Science at Tel Aviv University, and her PhD in Computational Biology from Tel Aviv University, also in Israel. And then she did her postdoc here, where she worked with Dr. Mario Suva at MGH and the Broad Institute, and really merged her interests in computer science and medicine in order to tackle these hard-to-treat diseases. And she is obviously a very accomplished scientist, but she's an even more wonderful person, and she's one of the most kind and generous people I've ever met. And this week in her office, I had a little bit of extra time, so I just shared Anna's story from my heart. I told her where I was going this weekend. I was honest about it, and she was just like, how can I get involved? How can I help? And so here's Donna. Hi, Donna. This is my family's, I used to say small nonprofit organization, but now I'm gonna say multi-million-dollar organization.
Heartwarming words. It is a pleasure to be here. It's really wonderful to hear you and to see you and to hear about the wonderful work that you're all doing. And I loved learning from Megan about the foundation, and I thought that I would share a little bit about what our research group is doing at UPenn and about some recent advances in immunotherapy for glioma treatment done around the world. So as Joanna actually just explained, gliomas are very complex, and the different cells are different from each other. One has to tackle many different vulnerabilities, many different functions. And our group studies this complexity specifically in the light of immunotherapy and in CAR T cells therapy. So CAR T cell therapy, which I think you may have heard during the earlier years or a year ago. CAR T cells therapy is when you take the immune cells from the patient and then you engineer them to know to attack the glioma, the tumor. And it's been very successful in blood cancers, but not so much in solid cancers until recently. About a year ago, 3 different studies around the world showed that CAR T cells therapy can be actually very successful for glioma. And one of these centers is Stanford, and this study came from the work of Michel Monge, who I know that you supported, and you're still supporting, and the foundation helped actually get this therapy for pediatric glioma. The CAR T cell therapy was finally showing some hope in treating these cases. So our lab works on trying to understand why sometimes this CAR T cell therapy works and sometimes it doesn't, and when it doesn't, what can we do to make it better? Now, all patients relapse eventually, but we think that if we can understand why, we can give them more time and they can survive more, their quality of life can also be much better. So I'll tell you that we actually had a breakthrough in the recent weeks, and we discovered a very important mechanism and how to tackle it. Normally, when you think about therapy, I think you think the drug itself is doing the work, right? You take a treatment, you think the drug is in there in the body fighting the tumor. But actually, in the case of CAR T cell therapy in glioma, what we saw is that the drug wakes up the immune cells that are already in the patient. And if it manages to wake up the helpful immune cells, then the patient survive more, feel better. And if it wakes up the non-helpful immune cells, they actually do much worse. What's really interesting about it is that you can help this mechanism. There are combinational therapy that you give along with the CAR T-cell therapy to help wake up the good populations, the helpful ones, and kind of inhibit the non-helpful ones. And so we and other groups, Michelle Monge, for example, also is working on it from the pediatric side. We are more from the adult side, working on this combinational therapy to boost the results. And this has been made possible through your support, your donations, your help, and it finally, I think, gives really important hope for this otherwise very fatal, very devastating disease. And we are very, very proud of these results, and I hope that you also feel very proud to be seeing these very hopeful results coming in.
Thank you so much, Donna. We really appreciate you being here. Thank you. So you can see that the research is moving. There's a lot that's been understood and learned and discovered over the last few years. 5 to 10 years has been more progress than in the 30 years before, is how they explain it to me. But it is a very, very difficult disease. And we know that there are challenges that are happening now at the federal level. We never get enough support from pharmaceutical companies, although we keep trying. One of the new areas that we're looking to fund is actually a drug that has potential for making a difference in brain cancers, starting with DMG and then with gliomatosis cerebri, with doctors that we know from Dana-Farber and other areas. So all I can say is that the work being done is so very important. The challenges right now are greater and greater, and so the impact that you make is what's going to make a difference now. We're so grateful for you to be here. We love to catch up with you. We love to see you, but it's also a very important thing that you're doing here. So if you can bid a little higher on everything that's out here in the hallway.
One of our cohorts, as we talked about the different events that we have to raise money, and we've been very fortunate, in the 12 years, to have raised over $2 million in donations. Just incredible. So, with that being said, that's not the end of the line. So I just want to say, in closing, that if you know anybody out there that's got to have $50,000, $100,000, we'll gladly take it, because we know what to do with it, and we have to continue doing what we're doing. So we'd appreciate anything. But let me tell you, if you're doing it $1, it makes a difference, and all those dollars add up. And we wouldn't have gotten where we are today, because if it wasn't for those dollars adding up. So we just want to thank you, and thank you, as much as we can, and thank you for your support.
The one thing I do want to just remind people is that in terms of providing smiles and gift packages and things that we do to make a difference in kids' lives. So we know from Anna that it was the little surprises that she got, what Auntie Mary brought to visit when she was in the clinic, whatever she could take that would just distract her from what she was going through. So we have people that make pillowcases for us, people that crochet for us, so it doesn't have to be money. But if there's, if anyone has any talents, and we know they're out there because we saw the bowl out there and everything else, and everything you do for this really helps. But what I really wanted to tell you is that for our Smiles program, we support kids with any type of cancer. And following this event last year or the year before, someone that attended reached out to us and knew a child that had just recently been diagnosed, and we were able to help them, and we did a whole party for them. So it's a birthday party is little, it could be anything and anything, and we try to make unique gifts to whatever the kid, what is special to them. So we're trying to get connected with a soccer team because we do know a child that loves soccer right now that we're trying to help. But so if you know of anybody that does have any family that is connected to a child with cancer, we would love to help them. And you can reach us on ayjfund.org, or we have some cards that are on the information table at the end, so you just grab one of those and go as you go. But talk to anybody that's connected and just reach out to us, and we'd love to help them. So thank you very much. We still have lots of wine and lots of beer. There are a few more bottles of wine left for the wine pole, so that's on this side of the table. So I'm on this side of the hallway. So